When we mention the name Joe Biden, you would always think he's the leading voice of NATO, the establishment, and the people who are ruining a lot of things right now in the world. Well, no, I have evidence that he wasn't always pro-NATO expansion. But it's not because it's got values or principles, it's because certain politicians on the left in the West, especially the Democrats in America or the Labour Party here in the UK, when they're out of power, they pretend to be this anti-establishment, people power sort of politician. But the moment they get into White House, Downing Street, they become the establishment puppets. Well, it's not really helping his case because we have a video of a few years ago, back in 1997, before he became vice president and now president, where he was speaking out against NATO expansion.
I think the one place where the greatest consternation would be caused in the short term for admission, having nothing to do with the merit and preparedness of the country to come in, would be to admit the Baltic states now in terms of NATO-Russian, U.S.-Russian relations.
Interesting. What would that do? Would that cause trouble with Russia?
And if there was ever anything that was going to tip the balance, were it to be tipped in terms of a vigorous and hostile reaction, I don't mean military, in Russia, it would be that. So the way
Interesting, Uncle Joe, that you change your tune. The problem is that Uncle Joe, like you could say, actually what he said, semi-accurate in terms of provoking each side, and the current side, the current version of the NATO and the West in general. Yeah, if someone's attacking you, defend yourself. It's never black and white, is it? And the problem is, a lot of people are making it black and white. It's either Team Kremlin or Team Zelensky. It's not like that. You don't have to love either side. The reality is that a lot of people have always said that international conflicts and crisis in nations help, by default, help their leaders, presidents and prime ministers, to come up and re-energize their base. Like Margaret Thatcher in the Falklands, for example. It's not always black and white again because, yes, it's helping right now Boris Johnson to come back. He's coming back, at least for now, after the cake gate and suitcase of booze. This issue is actually helping him with his leadership. On the other hand, and Macron as well, whether you like it or not. On the other hand, Joe Biden is doing the exact opposite. His leadership is being completely undermined. To be fair, didn't really exist anyway in his leadership, especially after the fall of Afghanistan. But right now, this crisis is destroying him even more than before. That's why people like Justin Trudeau are freaking out. Justin Trudeau is on his European tour right now, going around all these countries, publicity stunts, talk about freedom, democracy against authoritarianism. I know, pot kettle. It's because he doesn't want to fall into the same trap as Joe Biden. I think it's too late for Justin Trudeau as well as Joe Biden, and we'll see how the midterms go in the US, and we'll see how 2024 goes in the US for Joe Biden. I'm sorry, not Joe Biden, for Kamala Harris. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to come back. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.